see the move that's
Well, this far into the season, obviously I have a lot of time spent with Coach Stefanski in the quarterback room for many months now, and he knows me well. But at the same time, you don't reinvent much, this late in the year. So, I think we'll get back to business as usual today, and just try to find a way to win these last three games. And we have so much to play for, and we have two home games, and the focus is on the Miami Dolphins now.
Kirk, what was your initial feeling when you heard?
It's the hard part of this business, and it was tough news. I hate seeing it happen, and it's as simple as that.
What potentially needs to change on offense, in your opinion, the last 3 weeks of the season, and what can you change? I know you said not a lot can.
Well, when I'm saying not a lot's going to change, I mean we're not going to become a team that runs the zone read every play and runs a bunch of trick plays, and we're not going to just reinvent our offensive scheme. But what needs to change as far as execution is we got to score points, and you do that, and you put yourself in a position, especially with the way our defense has played. So that's where our focus is how do we score points? How do we execute play in and play out to make sure we're getting in the end zone and coming away with enough points to win a game?
How will this move help this team in what it wants to do these final 3 games?
How can it help? I don't know. I think, no matter who's coaching this team, we got to come together and execute as players, take ownership, prepare well, help one another, communicate well, and that's where our focus is. I think we believe in Coach Stefanski, and we believe in the coaches that will be leading us, and we'll get behind them and put a good plan together and be ready to execute it come Sunday.
What have been your impressions of Coach Stefanski and working with him?
Oh, he's very sharp. He's been here for many years, which is unique in the coaching profession to be here as many years as he has. He's coached a number of positions. He started out, playing defense, so he has the perspective of someone from the other side of the football, as well as now having coached nearly every position on offense. He's got an even-keeled demeanor about him. He's been with multiple systems, going back to Coach Childress and Coach Frazier and Coach Shermer, and he's been with Coach Zimmer for a while now, and I think he'll do a good job in this role.
Have you guys tried too hard to establish the run lately, or you kind of like fit a square peg in a round hole sometimes?
I don't know. Hard to say, because the only way you can be productive offensively many times is if you are running the football well, and the only way you can run the football well is if you try to run the football. So, when you look at some of the teams that are winning right now, you look at teams that are excited about their position going into Week 15. They're teams that are running the football well. You look at teams that are at the bottom of the league that are frustrated or surprised at where they are. They're teams that haven't run the football well. And so, if we can do that, I think it's going to lead to wins and lead to success. And you certainly need to try.
After Coach Flip was let go, did you have a chance to talk to him or reach out to him or wish him the best or anything like that? And how did that go?
Yeah, I want to make it very clear that Coach Flip, and no surprise to me, was very classy and very gracious in my conversation with him yesterday, which was the way he's always been. I have a lot of respect for him as a coach. I have a lot of respect for him as a person, and I believe that his best days in this league are ahead of him. I think he's a very good coach, and I think he'll be a coordinator again. I think he's head coach material as well. So, this is, like I said, a part of this business. It happens to people who are very, very good at what they do, and I'm pulling for him going forward because I believe in who he is as a coach and as a person.
Kyle said that you felt like this offense kind of lost its identity maybe over the last month. Do you agree with that assessment, and what would you like to see the identity of this offense become?
I just want to win football games, and I don't really care how we have to do it. And I think many times you have to adapt week to week. I remember one time the Patriots came in here to play the Vikings back in the Metrodome, and the Vikings defense was very stout, couldn't run the ball on them, and the Patriots said, we're not going to try. And Tom, threw it 50 times, and they came out with a win. But that hadn't been their identity that season. I think that was the year that they had a very good run game, and Corey Dillon had run for a lot of yards. So your identity can adapt based on your opponent, based on the situation you're put in. I don't think you just in the NFL say, this is what we do, we're going to line up and be better than our opponent. The nature of the salary cap and the nature of teams these days is there's a lot of parity. And so you have to week be able to adjust and find what works that week against that opponent.
Our defense is doing things differently with Diggs and Thielen to try to take them away. And if so, how do you guys adjust to that?
There was, I think, a lot of discussion, just even talking to my own family after the game, that they noticed watching on TV of, Adam and Stefan are being doubled and taken away. And that was true probably the first 2 third downs of the game. And then really the rest of the game, I didn't notice it showing up. So while that is happening, but that happened against the Lions, that happened against the Patriots. And it's going to happen. That's part of, but it's not play in and play out all game long, So I don't want to overstate that, but certainly, from time to time they'll be doubled.
Hey, Kirk, when a coordinator gets fired, is it desperation time? I know each week someone's asked you the big game question. You said the broken record. When the guy gets fired, is it that goes beyond big game, almost desperate time?
I don't think so. We're the 6th seed right now. If we win these next games, we're in the playoffs, and I think that had we won previous games, then we'd be in an even better position. So every game counts as one, and no more, no less. And we're in a position where if we get the job done these last 3 weeks, we'll be right where we want to be. And I don't think we need to view it as anything different.
You're saying after the game Monday, as you walked off the field, thinking it kind of immediately about some of the balance and maybe some plays you could
Mhm.
Is that still going to be a point of emphasis for you this week? Especially
Yeah.
working with the fans?
Yeah, after watching the film, maybe not as much as I had stated after the game, but certainly there's a play or two here or there where you'd love to make something happen, create something, and I think there's potential for that. I go back to the talent we have on the outside. I think I have enough athleticism to do that, and an NFL pass rush is going to necessitate moving around and getting out of the pocket. You can't just sit back there. So, I do think that's a part of my game that I want to continue to improve on.
Throughout your career, you haven't really had the luxury of having the same offensive coordinator for multiple years in a row. How tough is that when terminology is changing, when your coordinator and your play caller is changing?
I've been fortunate. I look at the positives. I've been fortunate to work with really good coordinators. If you look at my history, it's been Mike and Kyle Shanahan. It's been Sean McVay. My quarterback coach my first 2 years was Matt LaFleur, who's gone on to have a lot of success. And then you look to Jay Gruden, who I thought did a really good job my 1 year with him calling plays. And then, here with Coach Flip, while there's been some turnover and I've had different names and different people, I've been fortunate to be around some really good ones. So I see that as a benefit. But there's no doubt, and I think I've said it before, that continuity in general helps. I think with this being my first year here, I think I'll be better year 2. I think I'll be even better year 3 just because of having continuity. And the same could be said of coaches and teammates. So the more we can create that, the more we can develop that, I think it'll help going forward.
That's the assumption would be coming into a new offense, new coordinator, things would struggle at the beginning, but the first 7 games were much more productive than the last 5. Why is that?
I don't know that I have a great answer for you. I can go back to say why individual plays didn't work, that there wasn't enough execution from players. Myself, I'll be the first one to say, if I had played at a higher level, we're probably not talking about the things we're talking about. So, I take ownership as well. And yet, big picture, why? I don't know. I do point to the fact we played at Chicago, who's a good defense. As you saw, they did the Rams. We played at Seattle and at New England. Those aren't places you walk into as of late and just walk out with a win without breaking a sweat. Those are tough places to play, good teams. And I'm sure there's a part of that you have to look at as well.
Are you comfortable, were you comfortable the past month in the offense and being in the pocket, or was there some uncertainty on reads and where you need to go?
No, things were pretty clear. I was pretty comfortable as far as executing the plays.
Last couple for Kirk. Something like that happens yesterday when the defense was fired. Does your mind go kind of immediately to that personal ownership
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's where my mind goes. After every series, after every game, and after every season, you look at what do I need to do better? How can I be better? And the nature of the quarterback position is that the ball's in your hand, and so you're going to be easily able to say that so many times. And that was one of the things I did communicate to Coach Flip yesterday was, I do believe that with the ball in my hand, had I played at my fullest potential, play in and play out, we're probably not having this conversation right now. And so that's something that I take personally, and certainly is tough for me and keeps you up at night. But at the same time, all you can do now is go forward, and hey, faced adversity before, been able to overcome it, been able to push through it. As Coach Shanahan always told me, tough times don't last, tough people do. I'm going to choose to be a tough person, keep going, and believe that if we do that, if I do that, good things are in store.
Hey, Kirk, are there times looking back at the film when you see yourself maybe sense pressure even though it's not there?
I don't think so. We could maybe go back and point out in 400 dropbacks, we could go to 2 or 3. But I don't think that's a recurring theme, and especially with how much I've dropped back over the last 7 seasons, I don't think so.
It'd be logical if you do sense it whenever the lines break it down. How do you avoid something like that?
Well, it's a combination of factors. You can call plays to try to protect it. You can leave the pocket quickly. You can get rid of the ball quickly to a check down. You can throw blindly and try to anticipate. There's multiple ways you can try to work around that if you feel like the pass rush is getting in on you. But that's, again, goes back to my point I mentioned after the game of maybe you leave the pocket, take off. You don't try to sit in there. You don't try to make those throws. You just say, hey, we got just as good a play right now if I leave the pocket and start the play over again. That's something as well that you can add to your game.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.